It's actually mad if you think about it. You can tell all your patterns, attachment style, your triggers, and yet you don't really truly know yourself. You have spent all these years working on self development and improving yourself and building habits and changing your patterns and doing all the healing. But at the same time, you might feel like you never really properly met the real you or that you're being your real self. And then on top of it, if you add social media, where everybody shows their perfect selves, their highlight reels of who they are and what their lives are, it's very easy to get further and further away from yourself without even realizing it. So in this video, I'll be talking about why authenticity is lost and why you might feel like you don't really know yourself and what are some of the things that actually helped me to connect with myself and become more of my authentic self. There's this concept that I like to talk about being with yourself versus being by yourself. A lot of times we spend a lot of time alone, whether it could literally be anything that you're doing. It might be watching movies, it might be scrolling your phone, sometimes it might be some exercise or activities or something that you're doing where I think what we end up doing is we spend a lot of time by ourselves, but not really with ourselves. And when it comes to getting to know yourself, it's just like any other relationship. You need to spend time with yourself to actually get to know yourself. Like even when you have friends, you don't like get to know your friends by just sitting with them in a room. You actually need to have a conversation. You do some activities, you do something together, you spend time with each other and you get to know each other in different environments, not just within like the conversation with them. And it's exactly the same with yourself. You need to have not only introspection and trying to understand yourself better, but also you need to have new experiences and get to know yourself in different environments. And the only way to do that is to actually do those things and put yourself in those environments. And for the longest time, I would just, I would be watching podcasts, I would be reading books, I would be taking quizzes, and you might get a sense that you know yourself better, but actually you might just become more aware of some patterns or some of the things that or some of your coping mechanisms, but you don't actually get to know yourself. You just consume information that might help you to resonate, but you don't really know yourself. You just learn about what could be those things. But the only way you actually get to know yourself is spending time with yourself and doing new things, or just not even new things, just living life. Just just spending time with yourself and living life. That's really how to get to know yourself. And it is uncomfortable. It's not as simple or as comfortable or easy as just sitting in your room and reading a book. It's much easier to try to understand yourself by reading a book or watching a video, but it's not going to give you conclusions that it's like I can give you comparison. I first 7 years of my self development, I was literally just reading books, watching videos, consuming podcasts, and I was the know it all. I could tell you all the things that are wrong with you. I could tell how you can fix your life, and I could tell the same thing to myself, all the patterns, everything. But at the same time, I wasn't living it. I did not really take any action. And then once I started to take the action, live life, get myself out there, I learned so much more about myself within that time frame. It literally could have been a couple of months of actually doing the things than I could have with just consuming and staying in this comfortable, feel good productivity bubble of doing the things that might contribute towards growth, but they weren't the things that I actually needed to do to get to know myself and put myself in environments or situations where I am not only learning about myself, but also living life. You might have heard this advice, just be yourself. But how how to be yourself when you don't really know who you are, and a lot of times the person you might have created or built over the years is the version of you that is liked or accepted by others. So you can't really be yourself if you don't know yourself. And you might have all these layers of fakeness or inauthenticity that you have built on top of who you are, and all these masks that you're wearing to fit in or be liked or accepted, that when you are with yourself, alone and you think about, okay, who am I? The answer actually might not be as clear. And you won't get this answer by trying to understand better what others want you to be or who they want you to be. And when it comes to getting to know yourself, it's not about who am I supposed to be? The question is, who am I? When you ask yourself, you still can use the question, who am I supposed to be? Where you might think about, okay, who have I become that I thought I was supposed to be loved, accepted, liked? And through those answers, you might actually start to identify some of the ways in which you have started to wear the masks, or some of the masks that you have been wearing that have caused you to literally feel lonelier than ever because people don't really like you. They like the version of you that you have created. And with this question, who am I supposed to be versus who am I? They are coming from different directions. Who am I supposed to be is looking outwards. You start to look at, okay, what do others expect? How am I supposed to be? Where do I fit in? Who am I? You look inwards. What is important to me? What do I value? What am I passionate about? What do I love to do? Or how do I like to spend my time? And that's where you can start to learn more about yourself and connect with yourself more and find more of those authentic answers that actually are you. And approach this with curiosity. You don't have to draw any conclusions. There's no wrong or right answers. None of that. Just approach it with curiosity, trying to understand yourself better, being curious, no judgment, and just see what comes to you. What are some of the answers that come? And they don't have to mean anything. You don't have to act on them straight away. Just see what comes and be open to whatever comes, and don't try to draw some conclusions about it. Just be open, be in the moment, and see what are some of the things that come up for you. And when it comes to knowing yourself, or even some of the things that might be coming up, let's say, like, for example, who am I? You might come up with, I'm lazy, or I'm somebody who is not good at following through. I'm not disciplined. Be mindful of what are some of the things that are true, and what are some of the old programs or some of the limiting beliefs that you have created. Because if you now see everything that you think about yourself as true, well, first of all, maybe it's not even true. Maybe it's something that somebody said at some point, or based on one experience or encounter, you learned this to be true about yourself, and you just attached to that thought or belief and made it a reality. And now you focus why it's true instead of challenging that. So with those things that you sometimes might even assume that that's the fact, that's true about me, question them, challenge them. That's what I did with running. I had this very strong belief that I can't run long distances. So much so that 8 or so years ago, when I was going through personal trainer courses, and in there was one of my colleagues that I was learning with, where I made him an Ironman program. I remember thinking at a time, I wish I could do it, or it would be nice if I could do it, but I can't run. I can't run long distances. So for 7 years, I completely dismissed the thought of even doing it, because I was so sure that I just can't run long distances. I just can't do it. That's what I learned. And now I'm 5 half marathons, 1 marathon, and half Ironman into it. Is it true? If I didn't challenge it, I would probably still walk around believing that I can't run long distances. But now that's not true anymore. So you want to stay open-minded and question the things that you think are true about yourself, and not only question them, but also challenge them in a sense of maybe even proving yourself wrong. Oh, you're not a runner? Let's see. Let's go and try and see if it's actually true. It might be, but it might not. And the only way to find out is to actually go and do the thing. This one I already touched on, but it's a very important one. You can't think your way to yourself. You have to go live it. And this is something that I think it kind of aligns with the previous one as well, is that you might have these ideas of who you are, who you're not, what you can, what you can't, but nobody said it's true. Or if it is true, did you actually found it out to be true through lived experience. So like in my case, I just assumed I can't run long distances. I didn't actually do it. I didn't actually try. It wasn't like I went on this long run, I don't know, 5 years prior, and I was like, okay, I can't do it. My body fully shut down. No, none of it happened. I didn't even run the long distance. And I might actually have done some pretty long runs. And I know there was like one summer when I went crazy with training, and I think there was one or two runs that I did that were pretty much like 1.5 hours, or like they were pretty long runs. And still, even with that proof being there, I conveniently dismissed it and just focused on the fact that I just can't run long distances and I'm slow. So what you want to do is you want to not only challenge the beliefs, but also there's many things that you don't know about yourself because you just haven't put yourself in through that lived experience. So go places, try new things, have new hobbies, just experiment. You don't have to overcommit to something like with, let's say, with what I did with Half Ironman. I'm not doing triathlons now. I'm not becoming a triathlete. I did it for myself, for my mental game, to prove myself wrong and to do this thing that I thought is impossible for me, where now it's not, but it doesn't mean that I'm going to pursue it as my main sport or the main thing that I'm going to focus on. It just for that time, it was a thing that was relevant to me and that I did. And I moved on to the next thing. And probably at some point I'll get back to full Ironman. But that's where you want to be open, but you also don't want to feel like whatever you now start that you find that you might not like, or it's not aligned, or maybe the timing is not right, that you now have to still stay with it. No, you can, at any moment, you can just stop and move on to the next thing. And also, even if you do something and you find you don't like it or you're not good at it, I would challenge you not to look at it as a waste of time, because you learned something new, you built a new skill, you gained new perspective, and also you learned something new about yourself, even if it's something that's, oh, I learned that I don't like this. Good. Now you don't have to live in the what ifs. You just know. And that's making it much easier to move on and avoid some guilt or negative emotions or regrets that might come if you didn't even give it a go in the first place. And also with these things, be mindful of your assumptions of what you think or what you know that you will like or not like. Because there's many things that you might assume that you will for sure not like, but you can still stay open and be like, you know what? I think I will not like it, but let's see. I just want to make sure that I don't like this. And then you might actually find out that you like it. Like for me, I had this assumption about Pilates that I am not petite enough to do Pilates, and I went to the class and I loved it, and I really enjoyed it, and it became one of the things that I really looked forward to doing, and I was doing it literally like a couple of times a week, and the trainer would like compliment me and tell that she can see that I'm very mindful and kind of like body aware and all these things, where it became this beautiful thing that if I had believed or if I had trusted that belief about myself or whatever was my assumption about myself at the time and I didn't go, I wouldn't have found this thing that I actually enjoyed doing and I found very valuable and like a fun experience for myself. So if you're sitting there feeling like you don't know yourself or you're broken, nothing is wrong with you. Maybe you just haven't spent enough time with yourself. And maybe you haven't done enough new experiences or went to new places where you can actually get to know yourself better. So you're not behind, nothing is wrong with you. It just might be that you have spent a bit too little time with yourself. And it might be time to just go out there and live, have new experiences, experiment, get to know yourself. And most importantly, have fun with it. Also, let me know in the comments what are some of the things that you thought were true about yourself, about what you like, what you don't like, and they turned out not to be true and you actually love them, or it's one of your favorite things to do. I'm very curious to learn more about those because I always love to hear stories about how we have been wrong about ourselves. And if we didn't take this leap or this first step into this unknown, we might have missed this opportunity to find something that is very, very something that deeply resonates with ourselves and that we're very passionate about.